Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 80. And I have updated a small number of mods, which I'm going to talk about shortly. But first, in between episodes, I've been working on the factory, which means I've been coding. So, this is the current program I have for crafting. And I'm not going to go through it in detail. We're just going to have a quick look at the basics of the program. So the core of the program are these recipe definitions here. So we have a table called recipes. And we have the key is the name of the item the recipe makes. So for example, we have the transistor, and the transistor is this packager here. This makes transistors. And the first item in the table, so this table contains tables, of course. The first item in the transistor table is the address, the network address of the transposer that is that controls the cluster that packager is part of. The second item is the input side, which is the side that the packager is on, and south is this way. I'm currently facing east, so the transistor packager is on the south side of the transposer. And then the third item is the output side, which is the side that this locker is on, of course, which is the output to the stamping table. So that's it for the for this recipe for the transistor. So what I can do is, if I start the program, it's going to run, and it's going to list all of the defined recipes that it knows how to craft. Because I've told it that there is a packager for microchips and transistors. And so to craft something, I type the name and then an amount. So, for example, 2. Now, I should probably make it so you can just use these numbers instead. That might be a little quicker. And I need a drink. Or 2. So if I hit enter now, you'll see that 2 packages are now making their way towards the stamping table with a little bit of glitchiness, or visual desync. There we go. Railcraft pipes are being a little weird for some reason. So shortly this will be powered and it'll start stamping out these packages, and it'll make transistors, 2 of them, because that's how many I ordered, of course. Then the logistics drones will be refilling the components for this recipe. There will be another package waiting. So I have my 2 transistors now. I'll leave those in there because I don't need them. Now we have, so the program ended, and I would have to run it again to craft something else. I might have it loop when it's done, so I don't have to start it each time. Now, The recipe for the microchip is a little more complicated, and that's where I'm kind of at right now. Because as you can see, the transistor recipe worked fine. But the microchip recipe requires 2 transistors. And I don't want to have it so that there are always 2 transistors in here and a package waiting here. What I want to do instead is I want to have the system try to extract a package from here. And if there isn't one, it's going to assume that there aren't enough transistors in here to make a package. It is then going to craft the required amount of components by itself, because it knows how to make transistors. So in the case of the microchip, it would make 2 transistors, which would then be pulled into the locker, then go into the stamper, and then the current hurdle is taking them back to the correct packager. In this case, this one. Now, originally, I was going to use the logistics drones to do this by just putting a provider frame on this table here, and the drones would bring the components to the requesting inventories. But I realized a problem with that isn't a problem right now, but could be in the future. Right now, there's only a single packager that requests transistors, and that's this one. So when if there was a provider frame on here, so if I take these and put them in this chest, which has a passive provider frame on it, a drone should be around shortly, and it will deliver the transistors to this packager here. But if there are 2 packagers that request transistors, the drones will always take them to the closest one until the request has been fulfilled. And I believe this is set to request 2, so we'll try to keep 2 in here. And if there's 2 transistors in here and no package here, this will of course make a package immediately, where it will request another 2. But if there was another packager up here that also used transistors in its recipe, this would still get the transistors first. So I want a more intelligent way to get the components that are meant to go back into the crafting system, and to the right packager. So as you can see, I've put a transposer down here, and there is a cable running under covers here, comes up here, connecting it to the network. And the intention is that I have this check this inventory for the components, and since the computer is going to know that it crafted 2 transistors in this case, with the intention of having them go into the packagers again, it'll take those and put them into a separate inventory, which will take them back into the crafting system. I'm not entirely sure how to do that bit yet, but I will be continuing to work on that. Now, the recipe definition for the microchip is a little different from the transistor because of the component requirement. The first 3 fields or items in the table are the same. It has the same address because they use the same transposer. It has a different input side because, well, the transistor packager is on the south side, then the microchip packager is on the north side. But they have the same output, which is up. But this recipe has additional fields. It has a fourth field, which is a table. Come on. So this here is the start of a table, and then that table contains another table. So this table represents a component that is needed to craft a microchip. So the microchip needs transistors, and it needs 2 of them to make one microchip. If there was another component required, I could add another one of these tables here that contains the name of a recipe and an amount in this outer table here. So for example, if I were to do this, and then we have a table here with a thing and a number. As you can see, we have this outer table here to here is the table where the additional components are kept. So the program would be able to see that it needs 2 transistors and 2 thing to make the microchip. Now, of course, it doesn't actually need anything else. We're going to delete that. So that's the current state of the crafting system. Now, I have updated, as I said, a couple of mods. One of these is better foliage, and that was just to fix the crash I had the other day. That so rudely interrupted my episode. Another mod I've updated is Railcraft. Just came out a new version which mostly consists of a few tweaks and bug fixes, but it does have one interesting addition, and that is the cargo cart, which is this one, and it's crafted with a trapped chest and a minecart. And let's go up and have a look at that, because I happen to have one upstairs. We've had some structural issues here, as you can probably tell, which I do intend to fix sometime in the future, maybe. Whoops. Come back here. So this is the cargo cart, and as you can see, it has a new, unique model. And if we open it, you can see that it has a slightly smaller inventory compared to a normal minecart. But it also has a filter slot. And if I try to put something in the cart, it's not going to go in until I put the item in the filter. And as you can see, it put a ghost version in the filter. And I just realized that the creative stuff is blocking the input display. So now I can put stone bricks in the cart, because there's something in the filter, and the filter is stone bricks, so stone bricks go in. Nothing else will go in. I can, however, put something else in the filter. It will not expel what's already there, and I can now put this in. So you can put multiple things in if you do it manually. You can't, of course, set the filter automatically. Now notice how it renders the filter item in the cart. Come on, stop moving. if I take the stone bricks out, I won't be able to put them in until I put them in the filter. So as you can see, it renders what's inside based on what's in the filter. So it will not render just anything that's in the cart. And I believe that it should render if there are multiple stacks, it should render as more should render multiple stacks. So that's pretty much the cargo cart, and we're most definitely going to be using that once I get back to working on the railway, of course. Now, another mod I've updated is, of course, Railcraft. And you've probably noticed one of the changes by now. And that is, of course, that the targeting reticules for the pneumatic helmet's entity tracker are now color-coded. And as you can see, drones are yellow, passive mobs are green, and hostile mobs are, of course, red. And I think this makes it a little easier to spot what type of target it is at a glance, and especially when they are bunched together in a group. Previously, the way to tell the difference between different targets without actually seeing them was the thickness of these lines. They look a little bit different depending on the target type. As you can see, the red ones down here for the zombies are longer and thinner compared to the drone ones, which are shorter and a little thicker. And then we don't have any passive visible right now, but they have a slight difference compared to the other two as well. Let's set this to drone so I don't have to see all of these mobs moseying about. Now, the other changes are to the programmer and programs. And I've used a couple of these to update my mining program. So this is the current version of my mining program. And it has changed quite a bit. It is loaded in Serene here. Serene now has a security upgrade and a single dispenser upgrade, which means you can carry a tool and a single stack of something beyond that. And there's a reason for that. Sippy here has a separate program designed to pick up items in the mining area. And that's all it does. Serene no longer picks up the things she mines. That is Sippy's job completely. This speeds up the process a little bit because Serene can focus on digging, and Sippy picks up the things that she digs up. It's a little more efficient that way. And of course, having two drones work on the task is faster. Okay, so I had a crash there just as I opened the programmer. So that's fun. Had to wait for the client to restart, but oh well. So here is the current version of my mining program, and it is utilizing some of the changes that came with this last update. There's also been a new addition. So previously, MyMartin added the for each puzzle piece, and that has now been split into or that has been renamed into for each coordinate. A new piece has been added called for each item. So the one I'm using, of course, is the for each coordinate. Now, this bit is to fix a problem I encountered, and that problem is with fluids in the mining area. So drones don't like fluids, really, at all. If the drone does not have a security upgrade, if it gets submerged into a fluid, it will pop into an item, which is bad. But if the drone has a security upgrade, the fluids nearby the drone in a 3x3x3 block area will be destroyed permanently, which is good. It protects the drone. Now I'm using this function of the security upgrade to get rid of fluids in the mining area. And the reason I'm doing this is because the fluids, for example, if the drone digs a hole in a wall and water starts pouring into the area, that is going to interfere with these block conditions. The block conditions are checking for air or admin anchor or bedrock, and I'm going to explain why I do this later. But previously I just checked for air to see if in this case, the path was empty, if the drone was done mining out the path. However, if there's water in the path, this is going to return false, making the drone think that there are still blocks to dig out, but it can't dig out the fluid, for example, water. So the drone is going to get stuck because it's going to think that there's something to dig, but there's nothing it can actually dig. So to fix this, I've had to add a subroutine here that is designed to clear out all the fluids in the mining area. So what this does is it checks a variable which, when a new area has been designated, it's going to be 0, which will cause the drone to go into this bit here first. And here we have the for each coordinate piece set to the entire area. So what this does is it loops through each coordinate, each block in the area here. And so for each block, it's going to set that coordinate to this variable, or set this variable to that coordinate rather, then jump to this label here. Then this label will scan the entire area again to see if there's any water or lava in it. If there is, it's going to go down into this bit here. If there isn't, it's going to stop looping through the area because it doesn't need to continue because there's no fluids left. If there are still fluids left, however, it's going to go into this check here, which is testing this coordinate that was set by this, which is the current block it's on. If that is either water or lava, the drone is going to teleport there, and the security upgrade is going to remove the fluid immediately. Then it's going to proceed to the next block, and it's going to keep doing this until the entire area is cleared of all fluids. Now, this is now possible. This wasn't possible before because the liquid condition only checked fluids in tanks. So you could use this to see how much and which fluid is in a tank. It has now been changed to also check fluid blocks in the world, which I needed to be able to do this. So this is going to clear out all the fluids in the area, and when it's done, it's going to set this variable here that it checked up here to 1. It's going to set C to 1. So then when the drone comes back to the start here and goes through here, it's not going to go into this bit again because it knows that the area has already been cleared of fluids. It's then going to go into the normal digging bit here, which is pretty much the same as it used to be. Now, there's been an addition to the initialization sequence. So this is pretty much the same, except this bit at the end here. We have a place at minor core. So I've changed how I select a new area. Before, I had it so that I would pick up the drone, and then when I found a new area I wanted to mine, I would place the drone down in the center of the area. It would then start the program at the beginning when, if I had reset it, and set up the mining area based on the position of the drone. Now, however, I don't need to pick up the drone anymore. I've designed the program so the drone will be waiting here when it's done with an area. And then I will set the minor core position in the center of the new area where I want the drone to dig. And then I will use the remote to reset the drone. The drone will then set up the mining area based on this variable, where this variable is set. So then it's going to go through the initialization procedure like normal. But at the end, it's going to place a block in its inventory at minor core in the center of the area. And that block is an admin anchor, which Serene has in her inventory right now. And the reason for this is I want the drones to be able to work far away in an area where I am not, when I'm not nearby. Because previously I would have to stay in the area to keep the chunks loaded for the drones to be able to work. Of course, because if I went away, the chunks would unload. So it places down an admin anchor, and of course it's an admin anchor because the drones can't put ender pearls in a normal world anchor. Then, at the end of the program, I've added this check here, which required a bunch more of these item filters, so I've had to make a few more sets of puzzle pieces. But this checks the entire area. If there are any blocks in it that aren't one of these junk blocks, which means it's supposed to mine it out because it's probably an ore. But if there aren't any, that means that the drone is done. It's then going to go into this new subroutine, which is the I'm done routine, which consists of digging out the block at minor core, which is the admin anchor. Then immediately after that, it's going to pick up the anchor and teleport back to the base, to this position here, where it is right now. Then it's going to set the done done variable, which means that it's not going to, instead of going to the not done bit, it's going to jump to the done bit, which, if it's not already at the return position where it's at right now, it's going to go back there. There's not going to be another anchor to break at the core, so it's not going to be able to do this bit. And then it's going to go into standby, and only goes anywhere to charge until I select a new core location and reset the miner with the remote. Then it's going to place the admin anchor again that it has in its inventory, set up the areas and such, and then mine out the area again. So that's the current version of the mining program. I'm going to update my paste and put a link to it in the description, of course. So, with that, I'm going to have to end the episode here, and hopefully in the next one I will have some progress on the factory system, but we'll see. We might do something else. But I will see you in the next episode.